The Little Mermaid has been surrounded in controversy, and box office numbers for the film are not what Disney expected. They have poured over $400 million into this movie, and they need a massive amount of money for it to be considered successful. But of course, the media has been defending it tooth and nail, now blaming racism for its underperformance in the international box office. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and to the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube membership. Now, starting off with this Bounding into Comics article, mainstream media blames racism for international box office underperformance of Disney's live action The Little Mermaid. Now, weeks and even months leading up to the launch of this film, we have heard several media outlets claim that, well, the movie might not do as good as we're hoping because of racism, and even the actress has said things like this. She has said straight up that the movie faced a lot of backlash simply because of racism. So this is not a new narrative by any means, but they are reigniting it and trying to push it yet again. It says, in a move that absolutely everyone saw coming, from the moment that Halle Bailey was announced as the film's lead, the mainstream media has officially taken to blaming the generic boogeyman of racism for the box office failings of Disney's the live-action Little Mermaid. As recently reported per data provided by box office tracking outlet The Numbers, The Little Mermaid's worldwide take currently sits at $332 million, which obviously is a very pretty penny, right? I'm not trying to sit here and say that this movie has made absolutely no money, but it is tracking under what they expected. It is seemingly not going to hit the 1 billion mark that they were hoping, at least at this point in time. And yes, internationally, this movie has been a complete flop, which I'm sure Disney is freaking out about. But it says with the film, much like its protagonist currently losing its legs in theaters, the odds of Disney's latest live-action cash grab being profitable are growing ever more slim. We know that the budget for this film is well above $400 million, just taking into not only production costs, but also marketing costs. I mean, they did put a lot of money into this, thinking it was going to easily hit $1 billion, because looking at the other live-action adaptations, quite a few of them at this point have hit that $1 billion mark, and they thought this is going to really work, but unfortunately for them, it's really not. It says, in light of this failure, rather than reflecting on the fact that most audiences are either tired of seeing classic works constantly and lazily updated in the hopes of earning a quick buck, or just generally disinterested in seeing yet another CGI-heavy product, the mainstream media has blamed a general attitude of racism for the film's struggles. Now, it mentions how on June 4th, a profile on Disney's head of live-action Sean Bailey released, and they did talk about The Little Mermaid's box office struggles. He asserted that the film would top out closer to $600 million, box office analysts said on Sunday, largely because the film faltered overseas, where it was review bombed, with online trolls flooding movie sites with racist one-star reviews. Now, I did talk about this in a previous video, but yes, they are blaming racism on its ultimate failure, ultimate demise at the box office. And of course, they are not the only news outlet to do so. We saw the Hollywood Reporter say the same exact thing, citing their own unnamed sources, reported that the film was failing in both China and South Korea, specifically due to racist backlash. The Little Mermaid is getting doused in select foreign markets amid a racist backlash over the casting of Black actress Halle Bailey in the role of Ariel. The social media outcry over Bailey's casting has been particularly vivacious in both markets. Sources believe that this has resulted in unverified audience reviews bashing the movie. And yes, there are, of course, a few bad apples in every bunch. There are a few people on social media going on to Rotten Tomatoes who do just hate this movie simply because, oh, they cast a Black actress. But The problem is that the media will always say this and they will completely ignore the issue with this film. The reason why a lot of people do not like Halle Bailey as Ariel is not just because they are racists, it is because she does not fit the original vision of Ariel. We know the '89 animated Ariel that they have heavily marketed for years at this point, that people know, people love. When you think of Ariel, you don't think of Halle Bailey, you think of Ariel from the '89. And of course, The Little Mermaid is based on a Danish fairy tale, so you have certain expectations of what Ariel would look like, but it's even more than that at this point, right? This is not the only criticism that people have had towards the movie, and it's not the only reason why this movie is doing terribly in theaters and people are rating it horribly online. We have several other complaints, like the fact that, spoiler alert, they changed the ending of the movie, so Prince Eric is basically a no one. He doesn't actually save Ariel, and the whole point of him saving Ariel at the end of the '89 animated was the fact that King Triton would see him and humans differently and go, you know what, maybe they're not all so bad. I have been biased against them for years at this point. I'm going to give them a chance, and that's why he gives Ariel her legs. But in this movie, it makes absolutely no sense why King Triton would change his mind, besides the fact that, oh, you know, I feel bad for my daughter after everything that she's been through, which is absurd. They changed songs in this movie. They removed complete characters and like side storylines. It just had a lot of changes that people did not like. And of course, if you say this movie is bad, the media is instantly going to call you an ist for it, which is just absurd. It also mentions not one to let an opportunity to cry racism pass them by. CNN also parroted this talking point, declaring on June 5th that The Little Mermaid has tanked amid racist backlash from some viewers. This is absolutely absurd. They just do not want to, see another movie fail, right? That pushes the narratives that they like. They don't want to see a film from Disney do so poorly because they like Disney, because Disney constantly gives them early access to their content and allows them to review it early and tease it to their viewers. And they know that ultimately having scoops and having footage and content to show off early does lead to more clicks, but also it, in this situation, could lead to a few hate clicks. They are, rapidly defending Disney at any point that they can. And it's not really surprising to see all of these news outlets talk about how, people are just racists, and that's why they don't like the film, which of course is just ridiculous. And Halle Bailey has said this many times at this point. Through all of the marketing for this film, she said that, the backlash was racist. As a black person, you just expect it. And she basically said that, Disney prepared her and told her, you're going to face a little bit of pushback, but don't let that deter you. We are really confident in your future. But ultimately, the product is just a flop. Very suspiciously, the audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes have not moved. The all critic is doing pretty good. The top critic is at a 50, and the all audience is at only a 57%. So there are a lot of criticisms that people have with this film, not just the lead actress, but of course the media is going to paint it this way in order to just attack anyone that they do not like. But yes, they are now blaming racism yet again for the underperformance of The Little Mermaid. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.